Hey, we're back, obviously, at Carnival of Randomness, and Greg exploded. He spontaneously combusted again, being a drummer. So we might put him back together. We're working on it now. We've got the Oompa Loompas. We borrowed them from Willy Wonka's factory, and we hopefully get them together. But otherwise, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I have a really good guest, and I'm very thrilled. We've decked out the studio in Pink Flamingos for her, even. I'm glad to welcome Jen Marks. Hey.
This is amazing.
So,
hey.
I can't help but think of that story we told each other still. It's like I'll go back a little. When my friend Jenny, not you, a different one, met John Lydon, and she said, it's like, how was he? Well, he was a bit of a prick. And then she paused and goes, it was awesome. That's what I expected. And I remember I'm tying it in when we met John Waters. I think our both thing was, what a disappointment. He was nice.
Yeah, it was. And I wanted him to be a little bit more like slimy and like kind of creepy. And he was just everything you wanted, really.
And didn't you meet him before? He came in town for John Waters' Christmas. Well,
there he goes. Hey, I do recognize you. Yeah, I know you are.
I was all screwed up.
Yeah. You
Mr.
can always
Helper.
count on me.
Mr. Helper, nice of you to join the discussion. So there was a thing 30 years ago, this Korean conflict. So
What now?
Just get your picture.
You made it.
I got a screaming headache too.
Do you? Did you get out after it last night?
No, it's not that. It's just I don't know.
and okay, now Ad Lib, we're talking about John Waters' Christmas special,
Okay.
Christmas show.
Yes.
'Cause we met him. Did you meet
are
him?
we
I saw
on?
I
I
saw
didn't know we
yeah,
were
we're
on.
on.
Oh,
it's
what's
the
that?
carnival. It's
Well, wait. Let me get my game face on. Hey, how's it going? Hey, good morning.
You're here.
Right,
Yes.
Oh, cool. So now I saw you because you had pictures with him too. Did you see
Yeah.
him before? John Waters came to the Oakstein. It was a hilarious Christmas special.
So good. So good.
He's doing his playing in Buffalo this year in December.
I think at Babeville again.
Yeah, Babeville.
I love Babeville.
Who's this? I'm sorry.
John
John
Waters.
Waters.
You know who he is.
Oh,
He
the
was-
director?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's so cool.
Yeah.
And I had a salon at the time, the Pink Flamingo. It was so cute on Canal Street. And I have a really great client named Jan who's real creative and she writes. And we just started kind of like outlining like how I could cold call Image Out and see what I could do to like do parties for them. So
Oh, wow.
they were really receptive to it. And I ended up helping Carrie Lawton at Lux throw a Pink Flamingo Salon pop-up party where she donated all of the proceeds to AIDS Rochester and John Waters' name.
Oh, wow.
On that night. She did all these drink specials, and me and Sarah McPike, we did beehives, and like people were paying $1 for us to draw little mustaches on them. So because of that,
Yeah, he's an interesting guy.
we were able to do this like pre-meet with him at the what was the mansion on Mount Hope, one of those like bed and breakfasts, Elwinger Berry Estate. That's what it was. And he was so beautiful and in his comme de garçon suit. And Harley, my boyfriend at the time, had brought a Playboy that they had written about. Like they would do articles of like, you know, if you were an author, you'd get like a couple pages or whatever. And so John Waters was in this, so, you know, one of the issues. And he was so stoked to sign Harley's magazine. I was so jealous. I was like, no, I want John Waters to be my best friend. Like, I want him to think I'm the coolest here.
What brought him to town? What was his...
The
He
garbage
does-
plates.
No, and the Christmas thing. Like,
Yes,
he loves
John Waters
to do
is doing. John
Christmas.
Waters loves Christmas. It's probably you could figure it. It's
Oh.
such a cheesy junk holiday
Yeah.
that he loves Christmas. So he's actually coming to Bayville in Buffalo. John, give us money.
Yeah. I'm broke. I'm pregnant. And we need money.
So am I. But he does a John Waters Christmas. He's done a John Waters Christmas album, which features other artists.
Oh, okay.
And he brought his Christmas show to Hoaxon. And I would say, now this was like probably like 7,
Longer.
8,
About
9
10.
years, 10 years ago.
10, I'd say, in that category. Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome.
And he's just.
I
he
read
does,
an
like,
article with
spoken
him.
word.
He's very interesting.
Yeah, you would dig it.
But the thing I said about him too was like Pink Flamingos. You know, I go. You know, okay, you're not going to believe this, but first I thanked him. I said, I've seen like Towson rats. I used to live in Alexandria. And he said, well, it's pretty rich. I go, no, the rats are pretty big. I've seen them. But then we were talking. I said, like, thanks for getting me through Catholic schools. But I said, like, okay, Pink Flamingos, I got to confess to you. Okay, everybody knows the scene. I don't want to talk about it because I'll gag on air. The last scene.
The scene.
But freaked me out, though, was that thing at the beginning when there's Edith Massey and the little baby cotton. It freaked me out.
It's really Yeah,
Is this a movie?
terrible.
I've never seen it.
You've never
Pink
seen
Flamingos
Pink
is
Flamingos?
out
You
of
could borrow
control.
it.
Yeah.
It's basically about a bunch of sicko perverts battling each other and divine to be the most disgusting person in the world.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I'll try to tell you. You want to hear the last thing that grosses everybody out?
Sure.
You might have to host the rest of the show if I start getting my reflexes go. You want to? I can say it. I can. Divine eats a dog turd, a real one.
Yeah, like you watch the dog poop.
And I think John
terrible.
Watterson, when Divine ate, we all did too.
Divine, I guess, called his doctor, and was like, hypothetically speaking, I'm asking for a friend.
Yo,
You get sick.
oh yeah, it's like when you
for
call
eating
emergency.
dog.
Well, there's a cucumber stuck up.
Yeah, I don't know how this doorknob got up here, but yeah, so I guess like they were saying, like,
That's
yeah,
weird.
dude, you can get really sick. Like, what are you doing?
If they were going to pay me like millions, and I really had to do it, it would be between that and the Deliverance scene with Ned Beatty.
Oh,
if
I
they
can't
paid me
watch
like
it.
$5 million, but I would like call it. I would say, okay,
And then
I get a dog. I'd get the dog, and I'd start feeding it healthy food for weeks.
But
Oh,
the
my
trouble
God.
with that is then you spend $4.5 million on therapy after that.
Yeah, exactly. You got to pick your.
But I
your
still
demise.
love what did like John Waters say his special. Eventually, there's a cemeteries for Edith Massey, Divine.
We went there.
And it's
We
called.
went
We're
there.
going to call it Disgraceland.
Yeah, that's great.
And one of my relatives lives in Maryland. He says he'll see John Waters at the bank.
That's amazing. I would love to see John Waters at the bank. We went to Hampton. We would drive a lot, once things started lifting a little bit from COVID, because we were just going to go socially distance anyways, like
Yeah.
camp or, all this stuff. And we drove to Hampton and we went to Atomic Bookstore, and my guy had never been there yet. And we had brought a plushie doll that we made, that Ted made, and then I did the hair for it, of course. And then we brought it actually to Divine's gravestone, but we were gonna, if we saw John Waters, we were gonna even maybe give it to him or see if he'd autograph it or something. And so it was closed, but there's a mail slot, and I went to stick my Pink Flamingo Rochester, New York bumper sticker through it. And all of a sudden, some big dude has the door open and was like, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, "No, I'm sorry. We're just fans." And I felt so bad. I'm like, Jesus, John Waters, like 74 years old. I got a Rochester, New York sticker showing that we're coming from far away. It was...
Oh, wow, he's that old?
Yeah.
76 this year.
76.
76 this year. Remember, he
Damn.
started like doing things like 1968, 69. He was doing some of his early stuff
Yeah.
and everything.
You forget because
Time
he's so
flies.
hip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing too is, I know, like in his his book about hitchhiking, he'll put the address of Atomic books, because what he collects, and I sent him a couple.
Did you?
Is
Hi, Andy.
Yeah.
Ladies
But
and gentlemen, Andy Calabrese.
Yay.
Voice to the full potential.
Well, it's because I really
this
can't
is like a
talk.
John Waters episode. This is like a John Waters episode
That's
of the
fine.
Carnival.
Yeah.
But he says
I had
like
a
so.
dream of Divine
I sent him.
Testing.
He likes to try adaptions of movie books. I sent him a Bill and Ted adaptation. I try to find the weirdest possible and
Yes,
just
you're
mail
such a
them
good
to him.
friend.
And I
He loves
and
that
I don't
shit.
want anything from him. I just want to mail it to him, and I was like, "Thanks for the movies."
Yeah. Well, and he does a thing too, where if you write him a Christmas card, he'll send you one back.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, wow.
I did.
You?
Yeah.
Did he send one?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're lucky. That's so cool.
Well, I sent it
He's
like
the
at the beginning.
best.
Now the opposite would be Harlan Ellison. It's Harlan Ellison hates Christmas, but it was cool. You'd want to send him a Christmas card, because what he would do in green ink, he would return it, but he would sign "I hate cats" and Christmas cards on it.
Oh, it's so great. I don't know
He's sort of a sci-fi author known as like the eternal angry teenager, even when he was like 70. Could you describe him? Do you know him?
Who?
Harlan Ellison.
Oh. Well,
You don't have to.
I know he's a sci-fi writer, but
Wrote The City on the Edge of Forever.
well,
really mad.
I know
about
he did
how-
a lot of TV
lot of TV.
adaptations.
That's cool. I will take that as
he did
my
some Star
assignment
Trek,
this
I
week.
believe, and
He's done a lot. Yeah. He's like one of these. Plus, he's like an angry young.
But he's one of those guys from that era, like Asimov and all those guys. Like he kind of seemed to like the transition. He spread himself.
He
out
wrote
a
The
lot.
Glass Heat, which is about how TV was making us stupid. That's wrong, obviously.
Yeah.
He joined a gang. He wrote a thing about the seriousness of, like, you would see, like, West Side Story. He wrote about, like, the seriousness of, like, gangs in the 50s.
Whoa.
I think it was called Memoirs from Purgatory. It's almost like Solzhenitsyn or something.
Anything, if his name's attached to anything, I watch it or read it because I know I just like his style.
That's great. Tell me his name again.
Harlan
Ellison.
All right, that'll be my assignment this
I
week.
remember, like, the one story he tells about, like, a book signing, and, like, some woman comes up and she's all shocked, and he looks at it, it's like, what's wrong? What's your name? Like, Harlan Ellison? I thought you were an old Jewish woman.
If you get a chance, he did a couple Star Trek episodes.
City on the Edge of which he actually wrote a book showing how they butchered it in Israel, but it's still considered the best Star Trek episode.
Okay.
He's like one of those guys. But going back now, like, how did Pink Flamingo and everything start? How did you get the name because of John Waters or because flamingos are cute? Or there's a couple running around in the studio because you're here.
I love it. I'll tackle one. Jump on it. I'm from Gates, like you.
Yes.
So it was kind of like the homage to the cutest little
ornaments.
tacky ladies, that like took over their husbands' garages and prettied it up.
But isn't it funny how that has sort of creeped back in?
Well,
They're
yeah,
everywhere.
Absolutely. It's such a way to be retro.
Yeah.
Like, boom, you have a Pink Flamingo.
Yeah.
And
I used to
everything
go.
else can
I
go.
know. I always used to just call it the mini mall, Westgate Plaza.
Oh, I worked
And they would
there.
have like some awesome, like they had a magic shop in there, Baskin
remember
Robbins.
that.
used bookstore where I bought everything.
I worked at Phase.
Oh,
over
I remember
there.
Phase.
Yeah.
Phase Drugs. Yeah.
Yeah, Rob, what if we met back then?
I've still got some stuff in my medicine cabinet.
Yeah, you were the
from-
guy you threw me out for being obnoxious or something. But we had the one. My friend got really big into Cutty Sark in college. He started getting so drunk that he started hallucinating he was a flamingo and he would stand on one leg.
Oh my God.
So we tried to cure him, but we went around stealing lawn ornaments to try to bring them to him and show him these aren't you.
That's hysterical. So, yeah, you guys were the Flamingo Bandits.
Yep.
I always wanted more tacky in my house, right? Like, I wanted my mom to be like those ladies where there was white plastic covered furniture.
Right.
I wanted the whole thing. So the salon, when I started Pink Flamingo, was like that. But I did always have such a deep thing with John Waters, again with my mom, because I think one of my mom's favorite John Waters is Hairspray. So that was on like repeat all the time.
My girlfriend is a huge flamingo. Anything with a flamingo, she'll buy it, whether she needs it or not.
I sure
would've-
know your
she's
girlfriend too.
She's
She's been to the Margarita Sisterhoods.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been able to hang. Liz.
Oh yeah, okay, you know
Deb
those
and them,
guys.
yeah.
I can't find it. It was
tell her
like
hi.
this was like
Yeah,
years
for
ago.
sure.
took a
We're
trip-
connected with that
took a trip
flamingo
to
thing.
Toronto. I would have loved to wear it, but I don't know where. It's like I found the Batman shirt I bought. It's like a classic one.
Yeah.
But I bought all these shirts that were like $1.
Where?
In
like
Toronto.
that-
In Toronto. It was in Toronto. This
What's
was
that
like
neighborhood? Kensington?
Young Street.
Okay.
And this was like,
Yeah.
we're talking like this was like, okay, a bunch of guys weren't going to see each other again because it was after high school, going off to college. And then no social, you pretty much,
Say
maybe you
goodbye.
stay in touch for a year, then you're off, to
Is
do
that
whatever.
true, Andy? I don't know.
You guys went to high school together?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, I know some people from that too, but anyway, so we found this store, and okay, I did go to a spaghetti warehouse there, and I puked the spaghetti a la Homer in an alleyway from drinking too much, but that's another story.
Labatt Triple X.
And I'll never forget spaghetti,
Oh, yeah.
spaghetti
That
a la
stuff's murder.
Homer, which is spaghetti just with cheese on it. And my view was it tasted as good coming up as it did going. But there was, and I got the White Album there.
John Waters are like
and I got
that.
the White Album there because at the time, remember, this is like eons ago, that the exchange rate was like good for
I
us.
love
So that's
that.
why I bought the Beatles White Album there in a record store. But I got all these shirts and they're really cool. But one of them's just flamingos dripping down pink.
Oh,
But I know
that's
it's somewhere. I moved around a lot and stuff, and I know it's somewhere around the house.
That's awesome. Yeah. Speaking of Toronto, I just that fabulous DJ Darkwave.
He's been on the show.
Yeah, I love Steve. He procured my Pet Shop Boys and New Order tickets. He was kind enough to purchase them from me. So I got a Pet Shop Boys T-shirt coming, but I bet you that show was so great last night. Damn, Toronto and seeing all that.
Yeah.
Would have been so good, but
Yeah. But
couldn't do it.
Nah,
Couldn't do
some
it.
of those I'm like looking at distances to them, the border these days.
I
and
know.
everything. Remember back in the old days, I remember visiting friends at UB. We'd go drive across the border to buy beer because it was like 18, whatever. And it'd be like midnight, and they go, "Well, what's your purpose? Tourism."
Yeah.
10 minutes later, we're coming back. Well, we want to see the sights, but nothing's open. And they would
That
just
was
let us
perfect.
go.
Remember,
Then-
you just have to give them like
and
your
then
birth
the
certificate.
reverse,
too.
when I went to the Ottawa Jazz Fest, they strip searched my car on the way back.
Oh yeah, it's always
Really?
harder on the way
Yeah.
back
They rip
too.
everything out.
Yeah, and
Damn.
they like interrogating me, and like I have to be a big mouth. It's like I do films on what the oppression by the government.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, then that'll get them to dig
But
into your
so
car.
that's how you got into that. How'd you get into the whole thing? Did you really like are being artistic, sort of get into like the whole idea of like styling and everything?
Yeah, I think that's was the thing when I went to hair school was I really wanted to focus on like doing commercial work and or editorial stuff, and especially like 60s, like forget it. And then my good friend who lives out in Vegas and owns her own shop, and she's just this incredible artist. We went to hair school together, became great friends. She introduced me on a random night, a random morning after a night of her doing a burlesque show to Frank and Deb, and got me a job working with Frank DeBlaze and his pinups. And so I don't even think I had my license yet, and I was working with Frank. And so that was like good, awesome
when you
crash
do like
course.
things like pinups or stuff, did you have an idea? Do they have an idea? Do you try to like? Does he have a vision, or you have a vision, or do they say, "Well, I want to sort of look like this"?
Kind of both. Like, for sure with Frank, he's the director, so we would get really good guidance.
See, I found just from like doing this that you have to sort of be in charge, but you try to listen to ideas, and you have to be confident, but not have a big ego.
Total.
Or if somebody
Right.
comes up to you and says, I think we could do it better this way, and you go, you know what, you're right.
Yeah, you gotta be open
You
for
can't
it.
be like, get out of here, my show.
Yeah,
I got-
exactly.
I got some of Frank's pictures. He gave me a bunch that he didn't want or something. Mostly band stuff, no girl stuff. But
Yeah.
if you ever want any for you to put in your salon, let me know.
Amazing.
And I was
Thank
going to
you.
say, I remember because I know you were actually doing hair there. The shows, what was it? It was like the Hot Rod Betty's drag thing. It was in Star Alley. Those were awesome.
That
Yeah.
Sarah McPike had her Hot Rod Betty store, which is so great.
It was awesome. I have to make sure.
So
It
you
was
know
so
Jim
great.
Villa then too.
Oh
then.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, sure, certainly.
He played at that, actually. I
Yeah, he
think.
did.
And the thing was cool because what I would do was, like, I'm driving down, I see, like, these 50s cars, I go, I know where that's going.
Yeah. And they had all those rat rods. I think she even talked with the city, or who knows, knowing Sarah, but she's so charming. They weren't going to mess with her. They had all from, I want to say Averill to Gregory, like on lockdown, that you couldn't park on the street unless you had a classic or a rat rod. And me and Trevor Lake, who was great, and Trevor worked
Trevor,
at,
yeah. We got Austin on.
Oh, far out. Austin said, we just filmed a movie.
We talked about his movie on it.
We did it in the basement, so I have a makeshift. I don't even mean to air quote that. My guy owns a fence company, Rock City Fence. Call him. He's fabulous. And so he put wooden fence up in our basement. And during COVID, I was like, all right, well, we're just going to have a speakeasy style
Right. Oh, nice.
salon. Like, come on in. But so I've done a couple cuts in there, but what's really going to be known for is Austin Lake's. I think it's going to be more of like a series thing called Dicks. And I play Asha, the deranged, eccentric
He promoted
hairstylist.
actually. He promoted. I think we promoted his last movie. On
Oh,
it.
Awful Canal.
No,
You should do
that's his
hair-
band.
Pharaohs.
You should do
Yeah.
hairstyling like the radiation thing with the
So,
with the thing
I
in the
have to
gloves
bring
and
it-
the
I was
gloves.
gonna
Oh,
say,
that's a good idea.
Talk
That could
about
be
hair
in
from
for my
behind
next
the
scene.
wall.
I'm
My
going to
big
take
thing
it.
for me is, like I always say, I'm not middle. Like, hate, like, most network TV, I think is just crap. I can't watch it.
Same.
Like,
Yeah, me
Julia
too.
Roberts, no.
Yeah.
Mainstream stuff. But I'm like either lowbrow or highbrow in
Yeah.
my taste. So I really love low culture. And like one of the beauties I have like from my job is like we would travel like in the highways and byways in Western New York, and these stuff you see, the junk, like
Lucky.
there's like these weird like houses will have like skeletons of animals. I found one shop that had giant bowling pins, an Ottawa Senators jersey from 1970.
Aren't you mad you didn't get those bowling pins? Like,
I don't know. I would have had it. I would have had actually. It was so big. I would have had to like get somebody's truck to transport the thing.
Wait a minute. Was this out towards?
It was toward
Brockport?
Lewiston. Toward Lewiston.
Dude, I know what one you're talking about. My friend Jan. I'll bring her
My
up
friend
again.
Pauline, she always used to. You would hit flea markets and the stuff you find.
Damn.
And I always wanted to get a Velvet Elvis.
Now
I
you know who's got some? Dave Fiend.
See, I have a friend who had a band called Velvet Elvis.
I remember
But I would
Velvet
look for
Elvis.
Velvet Elvises all over the place.
One time on
Niagara
Chile
Falls.
Avenue. Oh, is that the way?
I think they have a lot of them up there.
They used to have, remember back in the day, okay, like in gates and stuff at gas stations?
Yes.
They would have the
They'd have
oil
them lined
paintings.
up.
They have them
Yeah.
lined up.
Yes. That's where I saw him last. And my mom used to live off Chile Avenue, and I remember driving by like 3 of them propped up against a tree to grab cash. By the time I turned around, they were gone.
Yeah,
I
and there was
so
another
mad.
one where my friend Rob and I, we came up with like a little skit we used to do where we went to Tahoe's late and then we found Elvis was working at Tahoe's. We discovered it's like garbage plate.
That's amazing.
So speaking of that, I still remember it. Remember, like, how did Sweeney Bob come about?
Oh, I love you for remembering this. I just
Hey, that's
was
why
bragging
I
about
get the
it.
big bucks doing the show.
Yeah, you got
While
a
we're
good memory,
zoomed across
Rob.
the world, even in parts of like.
Speaking of Frank, he's got to get dragged into this one too.
Oh, he said like he'll be on here sometime. I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he wants to come back.
awesome.
I talked to him.
He
I saw him briefly at the rock and roll thing, but I was like jumping around.
yeah. I talked to him just quick because it had been years since I'd seen him. I can't believe it. But no, my girlfriend Jess Miller, she's amazing. We met in New York. She was a big dinosaur barbecue girl because that's where I got to know all you maniacs. Really, was being able to work at Dinosaur.
That too, I remember like because I know now they don't do shows, but that's
I
I
know.
used to go. But I still all remember like Grimy posting like on Facebook
Yeah.
one time. It was because it was Samantha Fish. I was there, and we're going
wow.
Samantha
Free.
Fish free.
Yeah.
And there's nobody here.
So sick.
So-
I saw Derek Trucks when he was like 14, and like his mom would have to bring him, and it
Right.
was so good. I learned who the high risers were and the frantic flat tops because of Dinosaur. I was
I
19
always
when I
remember
worked
that.
there.
And actually, I saw her at Garden Vibes. I went up. I want to get her to do a Zoom
yeah.
show here.
Oh,
Because we
that'd be
do
great.
Zooms. We don't have the private jets still being worked on. We got
Yeah.
the Patreon. But we could do Zooms. But I prefer the studio. But obviously, like, people are, we don't know.
You should come by to my house sometime because I have so much weird kitschy stuff that
I'll
I
steal
collect.
it.
I
I
got
will
buttons.
steal it.
We'll
and
do
I've
a
got-
film show
and I-
from your house.
I
That'd
worked.
be cool.
I worked at a gas station, right, for a few years. So a lot of times it was small, so we didn't have a lot of room to put up all the promotional crap that they send. So I've got bunches of these like big plaques with the Snickers bars on them and 2 for $1, and I had
that's
the
fun.
coffee ones that said coffee, cappuccino, whatever it is, but a big picture of a coffee, and I cut it. And I put it on my wall right next to the coffee maker.
Oh,
so you
it's
got this
beautiful.
big cup of coffee, mug, I
That's
mean, I like
really
stuff
cool.
like that.
I do
That's like
too.
a
I do
Andy
too.
Warhol, type
Yeah.
stuff.
It's like the back
absolutely.
roads of America. You see the giant balls of string, the reptile houses.
Oh,
the
that was
signs
so
I've seen
cool.
where it's like a.
Well, that's what I wanted to do. Like, this is still a dream. Is I took a train a couple years ago from Rochester to Las Vegas, well, like Kingman, Arizona, technically, and I wanted to like just jump out at different cities, like, and find out like what was playing there, or if I was with like a band or like an act, where on the road, like in the train, like calling radio stations and being like, hey, can we shamelessly promote ourselves? Like, we got contortionists and geeks and, and have like this crazy like P.T. Barnum, but modern and even more
but
lowbrow.
what was the whole
That's
story of
pretty cool.
Sweeney Bob though? Because
Well, so Jess Miller was a great writer, director, and producer and host of this show called The Naughty Little Pig Show. It was so fun. And I would take freaking buses out there sometimes to help assist and be part of like behind the scenes and stage stuff. She one time got an orchestra of women to play in corsets and really cool undies.
Wow.
We had an S&M breakdancing couple that like blew my mind. So I wrote a script tease, as Frank coined it, and where I came out in my underpants. Sorry, Mom. And I dressed myself.
Just when she thought she broke you of that.
Yeah. No, she'd be so proud of this terrible show. But my friend Jess read the script like limerick style out of like a big, it looked like a children's literature book or something, and storybook. And it was about, so Susie Willpower was in it.
Oh.
And Deb DeBlaze was in it. And I'm pretty sure I cut both of their clothes off. Definitely Deb's I cut off of her. And I was just telling, we had fake blood because, Sweeney Bob.
It's like Sweeney Todd.
Yeah. So it was Sweetie Bob instead of Sweeney Todd. And I had to put the fake blood into non-lubricated condoms because I needed them to be in vessels, And so I just had to like bite them, and then it was a monstrosity, but we were up there for so long. It was like 12 minutes.
That's like, there's a thing called Shake's Blood that they had in Star Alley, which was I bless my friends who were in it, like MJ and them, because the one night I went to, it was torrential rain. But it's all it's all violence and fake blood. It was
so
awesomely fun.
And I love the stuff where they, like, the streamers will come out, like, the accordion paper instead of blood. I love to find it to be so lowbrow. You made me think
about, see, I love lowbrow. It's like something, it gets so, when you get the joke.
Yeah.
When you get like that, it's supposed, I think people have a really hard time doing camp. A lot of people just don't do it well.
Well, yeah, because you do need that like finesse, that like fashion
Adam West
accent.
in Batman too. That's because if he would have just played it like with a wink, but playing it all straight, and while we could just sit back and just go. But I remember like the thing from Monty Python. So like you said, opening the little kids book.
Yeah.
So the Rumpel-Tweezer one.
Amazing.
Well, Rumpel-Tweezer lived out in Dingley Dell, and Rumpel-Tweezer frolicked with the animals. And Rumpel-Tweezer bought contraceptives.
Yeah, that's so funny. I love that.
Speaking of camp, I love writing that almost like goes over your head.
Yeah.
Like if you don't really pay attention, like I was watching one of those old Charlie Chan movies, right? And Birmingham, his chauffeur guy.
Yeah.
He's in this place where they do seances, and he's supposed to get a job, and the guy that was working there was leaving, and he goes well, what's a seance? And the guy goes, well. He goes, people sit around and they hold hands and then they talk to something. He goes, oh. The guy goes, well, does it make, what does it do? Does it make people feel good? He goes, well, it raises their spirits some.
That's so,
and I'm like, what a great line.
Yeah, it's
so
like
funny.
You watch a lot of those old cartoons, you see stuff, and it's like when you're a kid, but when you're older, you see all the stuff in there that adults are going to get.
Right.
Which is really awesome.
And when you can get, like, in its magic when it really goes down, right? Like when with Jess's Naughty Little Pig show, she had Scott Sterling, who's a great sound man for Dinosaur for a long time, and he was like the lead guitarist for this like 3-piece that she had. And here the limerick is great. I gotta find the script because it's great. And there was one part where I cut off the heads of teddy bear or like pulled kittens fingernails out or something, terrible. And then the band went into cat scratch fever, and I was just like, yes, like we are
and
champions.
That's always Dinosaur will always be renowned. That's where I started to have these college friends. We started an annual lunch during the holidays. We started at Dinosaur in 1998.
Heck yeah, right.
And
when
we've been doing
opened.
We were doing it Dinosaur every year.
Yeah.
We switched a little. We've been going back to Dinosaur. The only time we couldn't do it was 2020 because you could go to a restaurant.
I know. I thought that was the first thing. The owner, John Stage, is a great friend, and I messaged him the day when Skylark and Herman told me, we're shutting down. I knew shit was serious, and obviously everything closed down around it. But I remember texting John Stage being like, yo, I want to work with you again when all this is over, because I couldn't wrap my head really around it, because always since 1998 in problem solving, I always kind of think, well, what would Dinosaur do? Like, not to sound culty, but seriously, like what would they do for the community, or how can they help, with like Black Lives Matter, anything like that. I think of Dinosaur giving food to the homeless, and to know like during that COVID, that quarantine section, you couldn't take food. You didn't know how people were getting
Right.
any kind of spread, and it was just a nightmare. It was and that was like the thing that really kind of like made my knees knock of like, oh my God, Dinosaur had to close.
Yeah,
like, are they
like,
going to be open?
I went
big
shopping
things
for
like
Deb Jones when I first started. She asked me, "Would you mind going to Wegmans?" And she gave me the list.
Heck yeah, no, for sure. You couldn't. Oh, yeah.
And that's what I was going to say, like being a
Nuts.
business owner and stuff, and transferring to what you do now. I mean, you're hit, like, I know with my business, like, stuff's coming back now.
Yeah.
But, and, you know, the thing is, too, okay, like, we've never really been through something like that. You hear about it, and you just, you know, we're in America, it'll be over a month, whatever.
Dude, I know, right? Now
You
we're
did-
still kind of lingering with
Yeah.
it.
Now I see, like, it's getting,
4
like, I know it
years.
gets worse, not. But you don't expect that. And then people, these
3
days,
years.
unfortunately, things are so insane. Either you can't just, like, put something over, like, look, just, okay, it's got to be a conspiracy. You got to get the nutcases who just...
I know. You're
We have
speaking my
the
language, Rob.
anti-vax by the ridge all the time. I would go by them. I remember going out there, and I would go for walks. And I don't wear a mask when I'm walking by myself.
Yeah.
There are these religious characters out there, and like, okay, look, they have a right to be on the street corner, but that's
Sure.
No, they
But-
don't. No, they don't.
But so I walk around one. It's like COVID though. But I'm trying to say, the guy coughs on me. I can feel it. I literally was going for 2
Yeah, right?
weeks, like looking at the countdown for 14 days, waiting for symptoms.
I know,
Because
because
this
it like
was before all the
worms
test
in.
kits and stuff.
I know. So scary.
I
Well,
feel bad for the restaurants that they had to do all that construction with making screens and putting
I
up
know.
frames.
I'll give it
and-
up. My dear
Oh,
friend
man.
Janine, who owns a Vino, I remember I tried
Oh,
to
she's
support.
cool.
I
Lot
tried
of
to
expense.
support by getting takeout. So what? I literally told her. So I go to get takeout. And what you do? You order. You text them. I said, okay, Jen, this is the way I look at this. The way you're dressed and everybody looks. It's like. Well, a hospital decided to make extra money by selling food out of the ER. So it's like, doctor, stop working on the liver transplant. We
Yeah.
got some beans and
That's
ribs we're gonna
hysterical.
sell.
It was
yeah.
crazy.
I dropped that bladder in the stew. Wait a minute.
No, it's bladder stew. It's
And then you
delicious.
think too, you get like a lot of people. Like I know a lot of musicians, obviously, who are doing this stuff online. But you got to remember a lot of people's careers and stuff and
Yeah,
everything
it was
else.
so fucking
But how did you
weird.
go? You managed. You're still around.
Yeah, well, and I work with really great people at the salon that I work at, Surface Salon, and these are like the best of the best hairstylists, in my opinion, in the state. And we just went slow as hell. Like, if salons opened up, we were like, okay, we'll come back in
What
2
I
weeks
did, I could
after.
tell you for this one. I was out in Albany. I was debating because you heard this was like by New Rochelle, by Albany. My friend was playing in Albany. I'll go, okay. So I go and I hang out with her, and I'm like, oh, I have a podcast the next day. So I get here at 8:00, and it turned out to be the last podcast. We actually had Susie and Amanda Stone.
Oh.
Those two shows. But it turned out to be the last show we had here before they closed down. So on Monday, I went to get a haircut. And the salon I went to, I remember at the point, they had one person with the two things spraying down every aisle.
Yeah.
And then I went to go return. Then I knew it was getting real because I went to return some books at the library, and the library was closed.
Yeah.
Which is cool because I got to keep the books for a long
Yeah.
time.
No, and it was, there was moments, minus being afraid. I feel like, I remember my friend Michelle saying to me, we are going to long for these days. And it's
In a way,
true.
I did because
like,
I went
there's
through
a
5
little
years with
languish,
dementia.
for
My dad
sure.
passed away in January, and then all of 2020, my dog was on her last legs, and I had to stay up with her all night on Christmas to have her put away the next day. So this was not the best time. And I actually went through after my dad's stuff. I just didn't want. I just said, okay, but I just can't. I just have to be you go through all that.
Yeah, I got
Isn't that
something
wild?
going on with my cat. I got to call the vet tomorrow. That's why I was late.
That's why I don't have pets, you guys.
I'll never. And I admit this.
can't.
I've said this, and I don't want to sound like a jerk. Well, I am, but I said I'll never get another dog again.
It's
Now,
too
some
heartbreaking,
people
man.
some people are like, "What's wrong?" It's like, look, you either know or you don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
you don't go through with stuff like this. It's like
Yeah, I went through that one.
somebody
too, a
actually
long
said
time
this to
ago.
me, and this was like I was saying, like some friend of mine, my dad passed away, then my dog died. He goes, that even hits you even worse. In some ways,
Yeah,
it does.
it does.
And people who know it or you don't know it, okay?
I know.
Think we're crazy, like we're gonna protest, everything But how did you? One of the cool things, though, I want to talk a little about fashion because obviously we have our fashion plate here in Greg.
Fashionista nightmare here.
Yes, but I still remember like really cool. I love like drag queens and stuff. We did Lipstick Massacre,
Awesome.
which was one of the most fun plays we've ever done with Pandora. And oh my goodness!
When was that?
This
Where
was
was
like
that?
2020, and we had it at Muck, but then we had the parties at Tilt.
2020.
Kasha Dayton, 2010. Excuse me.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay, I'm
But
hearing you.
so we had it was like Kasha Davis, Pandora Bob. It was so fun. The parties.
They're the best.
We named a drink the Meredith after one of our performers at Tilt.
That's a
And
great
I remember
drag
like
name,
going
Meredith.
with Kasha the one night at Edibles for the opening party, drinking every martini on there, debating whether cats and dogs better. I'm debating with the drag queen whether cats and dogs better drinking a grape martini.
That's lucky
The
dog.
thing I
That's
always
so
say,
cool.
and maybe I'm completely wrong on this, but every drag queen I've known, I call them superheroes.
Yeah, they
Because
are.
what I do is, if you meet them out and they're themselves, they're the shyest people. And
Yeah.
I think that plays into, well, because they are shy, well, this is a different person. I can be flamboyant.
Right.
The best one.
It's a character.
There's
But
so
I'm
many
thinking of your
ones.
Halloween. I'm thinking the Halloween show at Skylark was so awesome.
It was so awesome.
What did
right?
you? I remember you dressed as something because I saw you. I was the only person who didn't dress up.
That year, I think I was. I can't remember. There was one.
That was a
time
long time
It was.
ago. It was like
I liked going as like zombie girls, like, you know, dried leaves in my hair and stuff like that. So I remember doing one of that. That could have been it. But yeah, Lady Jane, rest in peace. She passed away a few Christmases ago. But she was always the most punk out of all of the queens back in like the mid 90s. We would go to Marcella's every day.
Marcella.
Dude, it was the best. And you had Heather Sky, who is the ultimate, the most gorgeous. They also passed away in March of, I want
We're
to say,
losing too many people.
2010.
I've been saying this one thing. I've been saying that, and I've also had the Sirens and Stilettos people on here.
Awesome. Speaking of some good superheroes, hell yeah, Erica, Miss Ruby Sparkles. I'm a huge fan.
Oh yeah.
But no, with the Halloween show you're talking about, that was El Destructo.
Yeah.
Love El
Oh, yeah.
Destructo.
Who was the DJ? He was like the host, the MC.
He was the
remember
MC.
those guys.
And then you had Harmonica Lewinsky playing a few sets. We had a huge costume party. Holy shit, I still think of the costumes.
No, that's what we did. We actually were out. We came down. I have to be the only dud not dressed up.
Yeah.
But I was just to say I'm a serial killer. We look at everybody else.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, and Raven was Medusa, I think.
Oh, that was a great year. She was great. She went as an old man one time, too. That killed me. She was a good old guy. But, yeah, and then Lady would, when Lady performed back in the mid-90s, it was called Life's a Drag. You had Darian Lake, you had Ambrosia Salad, you had Pandora, Heather Sky, Aggie, and Lady. And Lady would always do, like, Lords of Acid.
Yeah.
Or I forget who sings that song. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Oh, you
Yeah.
know that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just the best. And then would do like Sinead O'Connor or Blondie. So anytime, whatever Lady Jane did, I would end up going to like Media Play and getting like the maxi single CDs and just like learn so much music. Brent, who was Heather Sky, was, when you say superhero stuff, he would just stun you with how the confidence and the sex and beauty from him that I would watch people like freeze because of the way, but as not in costume, not as Heather Sky, he was so timid, still completely badass and punk, but like on like a 4-tier, like low key, like you had no idea that this guy would devour you on a Saturday night at a drag show. But
I think also, and I'm probably totally wrong on this too, but I mean, we have our fashion plate. He usually comes in with his fedora. And his,
no, you
he
did. You
even
look
dressed
nice.
as a banana one time.
Hunter Thompson hat here.
Oh yeah, that's a
Yes.
good bucket. That's a
But
good
I think
bucket.
it's creative freedom probably too, where like somebody's trying to think like what would fit me, and like when you do fashion and stuff, how much would you ask somebody, okay, what kind of look are you looking for, and offer suggestions, or
yeah. I like what you're saying though.
But like you have like a little. Sometimes we all have biases though, where like we might like some 50 star, like some horror, like something we really like, some horror movie, and we try to do that spin on it because we like it, because we bring our own perspectives to everything.
Yeah.
And I think if you give people, that's what I've always said, like for artists, it's like David Gerald, the writer, he's putting me as a character in one of his books.
Awesome.
And he said, what do you want? It's like, I'm going to make you a bad guy, obviously.
Yeah.
But I said, no, I say, look, I respect creative freedom.
Right.
Just go wild. Just don't make me like some pervert. Like going
right. I don't have to answer for
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
No, same. Same. Hey, that's the guy that was. Remember,
yeah,
like
it's
that,
like you don't want to tell a
remember that
tattoo
thing
artist
Get Shorty,
what to
the
do.
thing like Get Shorty, Danny DeVito. I'm so glad you didn't cast me as Eddie Solomon, the pedophile clouded birthday boy. It's like, no, I don't want any of that. Okay.
No, and it's
great.
like,
but if you give people freedom, but maybe they might like, okay, but if they bounce ideas off you. You know, and sometimes, and I think, like, everything you do, like, when we started this, probably, like, when you started playing, you probably look back and go, ugh. But then the more you get into doing things.
Well, you got to sort of, when it comes to stuff like that, you got to really be thankful for the people that put up with you.
Yeah, for
sure. You were less than stellar back then, when you start out on anything. So.
Well, and I think that's what is always the most attractive of fashion and art is the refinement. And also, too, like, you got to keep grit somehow in there.
Yeah.
And back to John Waters, doesn't he say the ill-fitting is always in fashion? So you dress as like, you'd have a shirt sleeve just a little bit shorter than the one on the right, which would drive me crazy. But just kind of keeping your eye always on the, back burner of like, okay, cool, whatever it is. I've had some non-fashion winners, and, the deliberate and kind of like personal style, I think, is what you got to have a little sense of humor.
I've been digging actually John Waters' comments about the Wizard of Oz lately, where he's like, Glinda was the real villain because she could have sent Dorothy home any time, but she put her life.
Right.
And I love it. It's like, why would Dorothy ever leave? There's a gay lion. Why would you ever want to leave?
It's so funny.
I'm a big fan of washing machine mistakes. So
cool.
Something
I hear
bleeds on something, and then you pull it out. Oh my God, it's ruined. Oh wait a minute, no, it's not.
That's
but
it.
like
That's
when you're
it.
a kid, you're growing up, your mom's doing your ironing and stuff.
Yeah.
You finally do your own wash. So the first time I did it,
fun.
I threw I ended up getting a lot of pink clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great though. Or like, even like a little shrinkage.
Yeah.
Because, it changes things. Yeah. There is the kind of like hold your breath and jump feeling too. With you got to be a little brave.
They might call it fun, but it's like some people can look at like creative minds will look at like somebody's like a songwriter might look at like something in here and the song pops up. Mm-hmm. Like you might just anything, but like a creative mind. Go to a junkyard. You have your art. You can make something that's just awesome.
Yeah. I was like a hardware store. I always think it's going to be like more trinkety than it is. We're like, ooh, I'm going to get a pair of earrings. Like, that's the feeling I get whenever I go into a hardware store, even though it's like, but I never mind it. I'm like, okay, like there was something exciting going in there.
I'm big on repurposing things. It drives Debbie crazy. It's like, I'll take something and totally use it for something that it's not designed for.
Just to see if you can,
and
if
it works,
you can.
and then little, and I just enjoy.
But I would do
doing
weird.
That.
I used to do like my weird eccentric stuff. Like what I would do is I would sometimes like I'd wear a shirt and tie, but then I'd wear like purple sweatpants.
Yeah, that's
like
great.
That.
Yeah.
But I think some people look, they're almost like either doing homages maybe to somebody they like an older star, or they're trying to be themselves.
Yeah, and a good smash up of both. I've definitely learned throughout the last couple of years, especially when I attend weddings, that having something a little weird or unique always looks best for me. Like, if you put me in I went to a wedding last October, and I had two dresses in mind. One was a green one, was really nice, but I looked very professional, which is fine, but that's kind of not me. Like, and that can kind of turn punk for me. Like, if I'm real preppy, I kind of feel a little badass. But I ended up going with this cool pink satin dress, and it worked out. But when we went to the church, dude, the bride's grandma walked in with the same dress that I was about to wear, that green one, where I felt too professional.
I had the one.
I almost died, dude. My knees were shaking.
Because I go into Catholic schools, I would always try to screw with the dress code by wearing like funny ties or stuff. So I had the one. It was great because at this time, okay, remember like you're like a teenager.
What Catholic school out there? Mooney? Oh, okay. But you were a Gates kid. I get it.
So I go in. I have this shirt. It's got all polka dots. One of the girls in our class is wearing one.
Oh,
nice.
crush. That's
and I wanted to wear a pink nightgown in for like one dress up day, but they took it away.
Oh,
but
so
I would
badass.
like wear. But the best one. This happened to one of my friends. They're my good friend Mike Sheldon. So they had the dress code, which is like horrible. He comes in and he's wearing like stonewashed jeans. Now he's very well dressed. Okay, very. They say, okay, you gotta change. You can't wear these jeans.
Yeah.
Now he looks immaculate, right? He works at our friend Jeff Bauman, who's on here. His dad owned lodge on the Green. They worked there the night before. He goes down there. What does he do? He gets like corduroys, which you could wear, button-down shirt, gets like a string tie, all grease splatter and dirty, but regulation. He comes back and he wears
so
it.
Great.
I
think that's why I wanted that. I wanted to always have a uniform. Not for anything else, but because to do what you guys are doing, like tricking it out a little.
Yeah.
Like I always thought that was really
I'd wear
cute.
my long jacket all the time. That's what I would always do and everything else. But I was like, go to a school like that in the burbs. It's like with the kind of music. Oh, I was loved. I remember like making a gun club thing for somebody. I get back, that sucks. When it hears some good music.
It's funny, yeah.
Especially like I always think like when you're in a situation like that, you have to make the best of it because you know you don't fit in, you don't belong.
Yeah,
you just want to just count the days to get
out
of there.
Well, I think that's where the meat is.
And if you try to conform, you're going to be miserable. I've learned that.
Right, but I do think that that's where style and art is in that struggle of not conforming and getting creative with your uniforms or just having something for expression,
My big complaint, which I've been complaining about for the last months on this show.
Well, that's usually what you do with complaints there,
Yeah,
Rob.
but the big complaint. That's why you're the co-host, Greg. That's why I need you here.
I have to point out the obvious.
But I've been complaining a lot about, okay, you like what you like. Why don't you at least try what you don't like? Why do you want to be like everybody else, like the way you do, like music? Okay, you go support this. Go support this. All you did was lose like $10 maybe.
Yeah, I agree.
Why? And if you don't like it, maybe guess what? You might like that and do something else. Or why?
I'm always down for something that I'm not.
And I always say I'm never bored. I'm like never. Like I see a lot of people who just I think they go out because they're like, let's go see the latest cover band, which is fine. You want to have fun, go see them, but. Go try something else you might like. Go try a different film. Why do you want to go see the latest?
You know what I started to stop
That's why
doing
I used to go to the Little, yeah.
I like to go out alone. I certainly like companionship.
I
always will run into you by myself.
I always do that. I prefer to.
And I'd like to, I'll sprinkle around because I'm fortunate to have a lot of friends that don't know each other. So I kind of like...
That's me, exactly,
obviously. Kind of just floating
I come
around.
in, I know everybody. I never like going to shows and stuff with anybody because I'm trying to listen to music. I have a lot of friends there. Like I went to see Spam a lot. We went.
Oh, cool.
Like I go to ballet, we go stuff like that. But otherwise, I just rather just go. Like I love going like
solo style,
like talking forever over ice cream or coffee, especially coffee. But otherwise, if I go to like concerts, I love just going by myself.
Same.
And I'm like the lonely traveler. I know everybody. Number one.
I know you do. You do. And same. Like I'm fortunate.
Remember, okay, like the Rockin'. What'd you think of the Rockin' Weekend this weekend? I know we were.
Oh my God, Barron Whitfield blew my mind.
You have to understand. You've seen Barron's, haven't you, Greg?
What is
Barron's Whitfield.
He's so great.
No. He's Little Richard on speed, basically.
But, and kind of like athletic. Name, like he's like jockey.
He's like 67 years old.
He is not.
Yes, he is. Look it up. Look it up.
I thought he was like 45 at the most.
No, you will get tired watching him. But the thing Tom told me, Tom Cohen, he said he's had him a couple shows. He gets so excited he broke his glasses.
Get out of here.
You got to understand, he's kinetic. He like gets you.
It's so true.
But he's awesome.
That's
great.
Right.
I love him. Great guy. Great musician.
Good God, it was great. And I love Abilene. I really do.
Yeah,
I love Danny.
Place.
I love the
I do too.
Backyard.
The thing about Danny too is he supports local music, but he's willing to reach out to other. Like he'll see something and try something different.
Yes. No. And what I was going to say, too, about, like, going out alone and everything, one of my big pet peeves, and because it hurts me, is campaigning to, I have such an array of friendships and styles of people that I love, but campaigning to go out with me, to go see a show,
I've gone
trust
lately,
me, I am not going to take you to see shit. I'm not going to put you in danger. And I have so many friends that just... And I get it. I don't want somebody to like. I don't want somebody to bust my balls if I don't want to go do something. We're all working on boundaries, all this kind of horse shit. I've been friends with some of my friends since high school.
I've had to really struggle with that.
It's hard. It is. It's a struggle. It hurts my feelings.
I always say like this. I have like a cat personality. I'll come back. Sorry to mention a cat, Greg.
It's okay.
Sweet, sweet kitty cat.
But but I have like this personality. If you know me, you know we're friends. I always say, it's like the idea of friends. Like you can get somebody who contacts you from third grade you never saw before and you're like, what the hell? This is, I don't know this person. You get other person you haven't seen in 15 years, you run into them, it's like yesterday.
I know.
And anybody I know,
the beauty.
If I'm a friend and somebody's a friend, I know they're friends. You don't have to see me every day or anything
and
else.
I'm not going to take it personal anymore. I try not to with... You know, we all have our thresholds and our limits. So get mad that someone doesn't want to come see the Spits. Well, this is why I'm engaged now to Ted, because he knew that I would love that on Valentine's Day. It's romantic. It was a rip. We had so much fun. So I'm not going to try to get...
so what's he playing then? Is he playing a band or anything?
No, he's picked up and he has played in bands before. He loves the whole process of anything art. He likes to tinker as far as... He acts. He's a real good actor. Yeah, so he's
I think at the end
vast.
you do have to do what you want to do for yourself. And like people, it's not selfishness though. It's like you can be very good for friends. I'm very loyal to friends.
Me too.
I've been burned because that's the saddest part of my life. Is the worst people I've had in my life is because I've been too nice. But I've gotten rid of all of them. I've gotten older and wiser.
Good.
But I mean, people know like. You know, I'm not gonna. I always say I'm not married to anybody in terms of going out. Or I could love somebody. If we were going out every day, I'd want to.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Let's go by the canal. Oh.
Yeah, off you go. Goodbye, little
Want
bridge.
to go see the lion at the zoo? You know, my uncle got pissed on by the lion at the zoo once.
Oh, it's almost like a blessing.
John Waters could do a thing about this.
So funny because I was just going to bring up that when we were doing that outline, me and my girlfriend Jan going back and forth about like how the hell can we meet John Waters? How can I meet him? I'm like, what if he could come to Canal Street where the salon was, and instead of like blessing a corner with like holy water, what if he peed in the corner? What if he drew a little mustache and but now after meeting him, I'm like, he would never do that.
Well, the only comment I made about him was because he took forever to like sign his like after the Christmas show. I don't know.
People are
he's
waiting
in the
line.
back. And I'm going like my friend and I look at each other going, he's probably blowing a bunch of whippets.
He loves his poppers.
You know what I said about him though?
Nitrates.
I said I take him. He's like one guy, and maybe there's like under 5 people. I bet that guy just loves. Is so happy with his life. He just
dude, you could tell.
Just loves his
you
life.
Could tell.
He's living on his terms.
Yep.
You know, and I'll say actually, I think like him or not, I think Rob Zombie's like that. He does what he wants.
I'm in. I would agree. Yeah, I love Rob Zombie.
I do
think
too.
he's
I saw him.
He's gorgeous.
It was one of the best shows. Sherry was there, but they couldn't do it because it was too. But he was
Sherry
playing
Moon.
with Ozzy, right? He would stop at small clubs. So he played at Water Street.
Get out.
And he wore his Santa hat. And then he go tour with it. And he's like, I like playing these little joints, and I'm going to go play in the garden with Ozzy.
Oh, it's so cool.
And if you get that live record, the one he did, that's exactly his show. And he came up with the Santa hat.
That's so
sick. It's
sick.
the thing from Halloween when they opened.
You know what? And John Waters, when I saw him at Babeville years ago, he brings up about how New York is dead. No one's from New York no more. No, anybody that lives there, they're not from there.
He lives in Provincetown. He doesn't live in Maryland anymore.
He lives in Provincetown. Well, I'm acting like I talked to him.
I just read an
yesterday.
interview with him like from August, so that's all.
Okay, so you might be on it. He lives in Provincetown like mainly the most part of the year, like from
I remember
Memorial
that now.
to
I
Labor.
remember that.
And then he
is
is in Baltimore.
For this show. He'd be like the kind of guy, like a little podcast from like Rochester. Hell yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't even know if he would do a Zoom because he's not at all. He's not on any social media, any emails. I bet you he would come, but when he talks about
Can you imagine him coming into the
Bayville,
studio?
He talks about how he loves Rochester and Baltimore and Buffalo because it does have that punk rock. You've got that underbelly and depravity here still.
Right.
So I think that we.
You know what? I
got it.
always say,
He's
like,
cool.
I have, like, I know some of famous people, like other people I reach out to for stuff. If you're polite and you ask, how's that going to hurt?
Right.
You know?
Right.
So.
And I think that if he was in town and you talk to his manager and his people, we try to get him to go to the Golden Tiki in Vegas. And I think that the people at the Golden Tiki thought that he was my friend, and I was not going to deny that.
Okay, big
I'm like,
you.
Yeah.
I have to have your opinion. I think, okay, Rob Zombie, you're a fan like I am. I like all those movies. Thoughts on the Munsters?
I'm in. I think it'll be fun. I'm not even like a huge horror movie fan. I just honestly think that Rob Zombie underneath all that hair is so attractive.
Yeah, but maybe
and
too,
I dig
like,
the
you know, a lot of
differences.
people, like a lot of people are purists, like look at the old series. I'm trying to say, like, okay, with the trailer, you only saw under 3 minutes. You know, and he loves it. I know the person who played Herman he's got like actually Fred Gwynn memorabilia.
Oh wow.
So
I also think too with the Wednesday what they're doing with the Addams Family, but Tim Burton's directing some of those
he
series,
loves the Addams Family.
some of those episodes on it. I think that I don't know, like I love Madonna, so anything that comes up that is like imitation Madonna, I get a little aggressive or bristly about. So I get where, you know, I definitely with the Rob Zombie thing, I gotta let his fans take him. I just think he's real cool, and I definitely do a little crossover from my hip hop, rock and roll,
Well, you're
pop
gonna see
life,
9 Inch
and
Nails,
I
aren't you?
yeah, next
See, that's like
weekend.
us. We go to all kinds of music.
You
Yeah.
have to enlighten me on this Addams Family Munsters thing. I don't know.
Okay,
The
so
Munsters is Rob Zombie's movie. You know that.
that's coming out.
Oh.
It's on DVD. Actually, they're selling it on DVD already. It's going to stream.
Oh.
Okay, it
I'll
wasn't
have to
one of
see
those
it.
straight to
It was
DVD.
going to go. It was going to go to the film. Then they pulled it.
I didn't know.
You can buy the DVD, and I'm actually going to buy it.
Yeah.
But you can also stream it. I
I'd
guess
stream it for
on
sure.
Hulu or whatever.
And I love Sherry Moon, man.
I do
She's
too.
so
She's
badass.
awesome.
But then the Wednesday is the Addams Family spinoff. It's on Netflix coming up
Oh,
in
yeah.
a couple
Tim Burton, he
weeks.
said.
Yeah, but you got Luis Guzman. You know who he is?
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, I do.
He's playing Gomez.
Oh, wow.
And Catherine Zeta-Jones is playing
Oh, that would be
Morticia.
good.
And always
Yeah.
remember,
It's gonna
like
be
John
good.
Astin rules, but
He does
Gomez. If you look at Charles Adams comics, he's more Hispanic looking.
Yeah.
So you know.
Yeah. And I loved the movies that they did with Christina Ricci.
Oh,
as
yeah. Well,
Wednesday.
Christina
Yeah.
Ricci was like,
I
especially
guess
for
she's gonna come
Thanksgiving.
in. I guess that they won't say what role.
The part though was still at the Thanksgiving where she tries to smile. She's trying to smile.
That's hysterical.
With Carol Stroiken as Lurch from
Oh,
Twin Peaks. I think he was in Twin Peaks.
no shit.
But this has been awesome, and the
This
time
is
is
amazing.
flying.
When am I coming back?
So
Yeah.
soon. Well,
Yeah, I want to come back.
You'll be
Yeah,
back
yeah.
next time.
I'll be back.
Certainly, but the time flies through and everything. Greg, do you have anything popping up soon?
Today I'm playing at Smokin' Joe's.
All right.
And
Holy
then
shit, I've
last
been
night I
smoking
played a
Joe's
dock
forever.
party. It's just the weirdest. It's not weird, but it's like behind, like, you know where Murph's is?
Yeah.
Patton. You go across the street, and then you drive around, you go under the bridge,
Lucky dog.
and then there's like all these
Those
docks.
sheds and stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like the fishing
Yeah,
sheds.
and it's just like these people throw a huge party, and we played, and we got paid, and clam bake, and
oh man,
All
so
that
it's
kinda
done
stuff.
for the season type of thing.
Well, we have to round up all the flamingos in here.
I
or
know.
whatever,
Let
and
me have them back.
have some cinnamon toasties or whatever. Drop them on the floor. They'll come up. But we're going to play because actually, for once, we have somebody who isn't a musician, sort of. So we always play something again for this is King Buffalo put a new album out, Regenerator.
right.
Now, if you get the album and it's limited, so go on their site and get it. It's an awesome Bone album cover with like it's
Whoa.
spacey, and if you don't know them, this is like space rock.
So I
Sabbath.
gotta plug Renee
Oh, yeah,
Henninger.
that's what you're here
She's
for.
incredible. Renee, she's an artist and just all around groovy. And I just did her hair, and her partner is you'll say his name, and He's awesome. He's got the long dark hair. And
Sean McVay.
Sean McVay.
Yeah, she's been on the show.
Love Sean McVay.
Sean is. They just did their European tour. They're touring America. Closest they're coming to Rochester. They usually play the day before Thanksgiving here. Whatever, they're playing Buffalo.
Okay.
They're playing, but they play Europe all year. They go on
Kicking
tour.
ass,
he
dude.
came on the show just before they took off. They're like road dogs.
Yeah.
This is like space rock, Sabbath, Pink Floyd. So we need about an hour to play one song, obviously. So it's called Regenerator. Go on their site, look up their stuff. It's really awesome.
Awesome.
It's really out there. We're gonna play. Might as well play the freaking title track, Regenerator, because I can't really see in this light, and I
I
can't
love
read
the
the other
success
ones.
they're getting.
So,
They are
and
groovy.
bravo
as
to
shit.
them.
Yeah.
So thanks, Jen. Thanks as always, Greg.
Thanks,
Hope that
Jen.
Thanks,
cat's
Rob
better.
and Greg.
And
Yeah, I'm gonna get home and see what's going on.
Tell your Debbie I said hi
I
too.
will,
My
I
fellow
will.
Flamingo.
I didn't realize you guys knew
Margarita
each other.
sister.
see, we would have played Pretty Flamingo, but we get
We can't.
the
right.
episode be pulled. So, so thanks
We
a
gotta
lot.
get out
We're out of
there.
here. See
We're
you.
out.
Bye.